Escalation in the conflict between Iran and Israel as more strikes are fired between the two Middle Eastern nations. This morning, Israel says Iranian missiles hit a main hospital in the southern port of the country. Israeli leaders say at least 40 were wounded this morning from several strikes, including at the hospital. Meanwhile, Israel carried out strikes on a heavy water reactor in Iran, the latest attack on that country's nuclear program. President Donald Trump is reportedly weighing a potential U.S. strike on Iran.
And those missiles and defense systems working overtime in that region. Certainly, Jeff Hogan here in the WRAL Live Center. And Renee, to your point, that hospital that was hit, the Israeli health minister said that crossed the red line. And this is dozens hurt there, extensive damage, no serious injuries, though. But the escalation of all this that is happening there right now after those strikes, Israel's defense minister blamed Iran's supreme leader and said the military has been instructed and knows that in order to achieve its goals, that man absolutely should not continue to exist. Israel, meanwhile, the latest on the strike on that nuclear reactor, that was the only operating nuclear reactor currently in Iran.
Escalation in the conflict between Iran and Israel as more strikes are fired between the two Middle Eastern nations. This morning, Israel says Iranian missiles hit a main hospital in the southern part of the country. Israeli leadership says at least 40 were wounded this morning, and that's because of several strikes, including at the hospital. Meanwhile, Israel carried out strikes on a nuclear site in Iran, and President Donald Trump is reportedly weighing a potential U.S. strike on Iran.
And Chris, just as all that is happening today and response is coming in from both sides, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu met with a small group of journalists in Tel Aviv. Now, this is one of his officers. He has finished speaking here, but still that small group of journalists, he was clearly upset, Netanyahu, talking about the hospital targeting. He says Israel is fighting for the removal of nuclear weapons and ballistic missiles. Iran is targeting hospitals with baby wards and civilians nearby and saying that they say they're targeting military sites, but Netanyahu says there are no military sites anywhere near where they are now. And he has said that Iran has said numerous times that they will use nuclear weapons to try to wipe Israel off the map. And he said, quote, "We will not let them, and we're taking steps to make sure it doesn't happen."
This morning, President Trump remains publicly undecided on whether to order the U.S. military to join Israel's bombardment of Iran.
I may do it, I may not do it.
Telling reporters late Wednesday he's made no final decision on U.S. strikes.
I like to make the final decision 1 second before it's due, because things change. I mean, especially with war.
And explaining how he'll arrive at what may be a presidency-defining conclusion.
I don't want to get involved either, but I've been saying for 20 years, maybe longer, that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. And I think they were a few weeks away from having one.
But the United States' own intelligence agencies maintain that Iran has not made a decision to rush towards building an atomic bomb, according to the top Democrat on the Senate Intelligence Committee and a source with knowledge of the matter. Overnight, Iran's deputy foreign minister responding to the prospect of an attack from the U.S.
We will do whatever necessary to protect our people and our interests. We have no choice but to retaliate wherever we find the targets necessary to be acted upon.
Israel's airstrikes on Iran have likely already set back the country's nuclear program by a few months, according to two sources with knowledge of the matter. The president huddling with advisors in the Situation Room for a second straight day, and earlier suggesting to reporters he'd given Iran an ultimatum and that the window for a negotiated peace was closing.
Maybe you could call it the ultimate ultimatum, right?
And as the Pentagon moves a second and third aircraft carrier strike group towards the region in response to the ongoing conflict, lawmakers deeply divided on the wisdom of actively joining Israel's attacks on Iran in any capacity, a decision they can influence, but only the president will make.
The American people did not vote last November to be dragged into one more endless war in the Middle East.
So either you want them to have a nuclear weapon or you don't. And if you don't, if diplomacy fails, you use force.